This is a week we've been looking forward to for a long time. We always go one game at a time, and Wednesday we've got a great opponent in Kennesaw State, coached by a Hall of Fame coach and Coach Skinner. So we normally really never go ahead of the next game, but in this special situation, we wanted to start talking about Saturday as well because it's such a big day for Tech basketball, a day where we're really going to honor the past and the tradition, both coaching and players, something that a lot of work's gone into, and we're really looking forward to. So kind of logistics this week, we've obviously got a home game at 8 o'clock on Wednesday in the United Supermarkets Arena. And then on Saturday, we play the throwback game here at 7 p.m. against old Southwest Conference foe Rice University. On that day, there'll be an alumni game with past players, including Andy Ellis will play in the game, and Coach Jennings will be a coach, and Coach Myers will coach. You playing, Coach, or coaching?
I'm not doing either one.
Okay. Well, you'll be coaching from the stands.
Right.
And that'll be at 5 o'clock. So at 5 o'clock, the former players will play, and then our game will be at 7. After the 5 o'clock game, all the fans will be able to get autographs of the past coaches and past players that are in attendance. So just a special day that we're looking forward to. Also wanted to announce that for the next 48 hours, starting immediately, if you buy a regular price general admissions ticket for Saturday's game, all that's going to be half price. So half price general admission tickets for Saturday's game at 7 in the next 48 hours. And that ticket will allow you to get into our game Wednesday night for free. So basically you're buying a half price ticket for Saturday's throwback game, and that'll include a free ticket for our Wednesday night game against Kennesaw State. So lastly, before questions, I would just tell you that the idea of this game has been in the works for a long time, and it's something that's very important to us to honor the tradition and past of Tech basketball. Our school has a lot of great things going on, but one of those many things is the great past of Texas Tech basketball. And all the coaches, I had a chance to meet Coach Polk Robinson when I was an assistant here for Coach Knight. I've actually been talking to Polk's grandson this week, so a lot of special things are going on behind the scenes of this game. But certainly the two coaches that I grew up and, watching and admiring and looking up to were the Coach Myers teams here. So it's my honor for Coach to be here today, and one of Coach's best players ever, one of the best players to ever play at the school, Bubba, who I also got a chance to coach with for a decade here. And then also Coach James Dickey. In his time here, I think is maybe doesn't get enough attention or respect. One of the best coaches this school ever had. Put more players in the NBA than any coach has coached here. Had great teams, including the Sweet 16 team. And obviously coached in this arena and in the Supermarkets Arena as well. And then one of his best players and one of my former players as well and good friends, Andy Ellis, is here today too. So I'm proud to be at the table with these three guys. And we're just looking forward to a great week of Texas Tech basketball.
Again, questions, we'll get the microphone to you. Raise your hand.
Coach, just in terms of Kennesaw State, I guess what are you kind of expecting from them? Obviously a very, very good shooting team. They got 3 guys in double figures.
Yeah, the question was about Kennesaw State Wednesday's game. It starts with their coach. Al Skinner's a basketball Hall of Fame type coach. Red Raider fans might remember he was coaching the team years ago, and Bubba and I were assistants, and we played Boston College in the NCAA tournament and lost that game. So Coach Skinner's well respected. He's in the early stages of building that program there. They've got really good players. They've played a really competitive schedule this year and been in every game. So again, not looking past Wednesday at all. Just today for organizational point of view, trying to get the word out about Saturday's game. But Kennesaw State's a team that has our full attention.
Any questions for Coach? David?
You ever have a chance to watch a game in here or coach? I know you were at Texas probably at the time. Do you have any memories of a game in the Coliseum?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was at the University of Texas, I think I came down here twice with the team, and one of those games was I think the 128, 125, either overtime or double overtime game. I obviously just grew up watching this kind of basketball, whether it be on Saturday television. I used to come to Coach Myers' basketball camps earlier when I was a kid, so I know a lot about the tradition here. Certainly my friendship with Bubba, not only having a relationship with Bubba, but all the guys he played with or he grew up watching here or even played after Bubba. And then certainly with Andy's time. You know, Andy played for Coach Dickey 1 year in this building and then 3 years in the United Supermarkets Arena. So I'm more than anything, I'm a Texas Tech fan, and I understand all the great basketball and great coaching that took place in this building. And Saturday is going to be a special way to honor that.
Coach, talk about Rice I know you don't want to look ahead, but talk about Rice and how good it is to play a team that played you competitive last year and be able to play in such, circumstances for this throwback game.
Yeah, we're really appreciative of Rice University and Coach Paris scheduling this game. We thought it'd be really special to have an old Southwest Conference opponent, and they were gracious enough to play the game. It's also a great game for us competition-wise. Last year, I thought one of the best games we played all year was against a really good Rice team. Rice is talented again this year, so it's going to be another early season game for us that we're fortunate to be in because we have so much respect for their team and talent.
Go to Jeff in the back.
Coach, how differently is the atmosphere in the two arenas with regards to the Coliseum and the USA, with regards to the playing service, the backdrops? How do you get ready for those two when you've got games in both arenas this week?
Yeah, so our guys, we were in here all summer long. We kind of used this as our base this summer where our guys got shots up, did individual work in the summer. And so our guys are familiar with this building. Obviously, the floor, you guys see it with the old double T's in great shape. Very appreciative of our administration, agreeing to support this game and all the expense that came into it. Very appreciative of our season ticket holders. Another thing I wanted to make sure that everybody understood was this game is not a part of the season ticket holder package. And I think a lot of people think that those tickets are going to be in the book ready to tear off, but they're not. It's a separate ticket. We hope that's not an inconvenience for anybody, but just because of the logistics and the schedule and what have you, I do think it's fairly priced. And again, in the next 48 hours, it'll be a half-price ticket. But I think our guys are familiar with this building. Above all, we're just looking forward to a great day to celebrate the past and the tradition of Tech basketball.
Coach, you talked about this has been in the works for a while. But can you take us through a little bit of the background on why this decision was made, and was it an easy thing to do, hard thing to do to get the ball rolling to play a game here?
Yeah, this was an idea that we had immediately after coming back to Tech to coach, and the idea was this. I think Tech basketball has a lot of tradition, including these three guys sitting next to me. But I think one of the groups that maybe has gotten a little bit left off in recent years with all the coaching changes from Coach to Pat to Coach Gillespie to Coach Walker and then Tubby and myself, a lot of times in these coaching changes when they happen so frequently, the past players kind of get left out. And so I'm really appreciative of Coach Allison on our staff helping me and our staff, and we really helping him try to just get all the former players and former coaches of our program back. And I take that responsibility really greatly. I think I'm kind of the caretaker of the program right now, and I really want to try to get everybody back on board. And we've had some great success with that. Just a couple weeks ago, we had 9 former players at one of our practices. Guys like Bubba and Andy coming by. I mean, it just means the world to us. And so this game serves a lot of purposes, but one of them is to celebrate the past and get everybody to come back in town. We're really excited. We have a lot of former players coming back, former coaches, including Coach Dickey's coming back in town this weekend, which means a lot to me personally. But the idea of this game is to just try to bring everybody back under one umbrella, and then it's just cool to be able to play in this special building.
To that alumni game, I noticed you've got probably a handful on each roster, maybe one more on that red team than you did on the black team. You got a favorite in that contest?
I would think that if Tony Petit does come, whatever team he's on, that would probably be a favorite. I'm not sure who's coaching against Bubba, but get ready to for the yellow pads and set plays. A lot of three-point shooting, maybe a little bit of defense, but a lot of offense on Bubba's end.
Any other questions before we wrap up?
Andy, being someone who's played in both facilities, what's your feeling on having a chance to get one last hurrah in?
It's really exciting for me. Obviously, I had some great memories in here. We were able to knock off number 5 Kansas in this arena my freshman year, with Rayford Young having an unbelievable second half. So I always enjoyed playing in here. I thought it was a great atmosphere. Obviously, the arena is a great facility, and we had a lot of huge games there. And obviously, my last year with Coach Knight, and it was packed every night, was unbelievable. I don't know that there's a better arena when that place is full. But I'm pretty excited about getting to come back and get on the floor again here. I played here when I was in high school in the Cap Rock tournament, and then got to play in college. And so it's exciting for me to come back. I know that I won't be able to play quite how I used to, but I'll get out here and run up and down a little bit.
Back to David.
Thoughts on what Coach had to say about the other team? You're on the black team, right?
I don't even know what team I'm on, but if he picked against me, I'm going to have to prove him wrong.
Andy, I think you're on the black team. You'll be guarding Tony Batiste. And he will get the ball a lot.
We're going to play an all outside the three-point line game.
I'd like to say thank you to Coach Beard and Rodney Allison for putting this all together. It really means a lot to me as an ex-player and an ex-coach to have an opportunity to come back and get in this building, and just the thought that those guys are thinking about you and reaching out to you, inviting you to come back and be a part of something really special. Chris has done a great job with the program so far. It's going to keep getting better. He's got a really, really great vision for this program, doing a lot of great things, and just really proud of him and thankful that he's here, and thankful for Rodney, all the stuff he's done to get the ex-players back involved in the program. I can't think of anywhere else where they might reach out to you like they have. They've been reaching out to us and getting us to come back, and we had a reunion a year or so ago, and I got a chance to meet Rick Bullock, which is the first time I'd ever got a chance to meet him, and that was really nice. So I'm really, really thankful to those guys for doing that. The guys that are on my team, they need to be doing some conditioning, and they need to be doing some running up and down the floor, because we're gonna run it up and down, and we're gonna full court press, Andy. So be ready for that.
Coach Myers, what's this mean to you to be able to watch another game in here after coaches so many?
I too appreciate Chris and his staff and Robert Giovanetti and everybody that's been involved with putting this game on in this Coliseum. You know, when this Coliseum was built in 1956, it was a showcase of basketball. It was probably one of the top 2 or 3 basketball arenas in the country. And you know, there were various reasons why I came to Texas Tech, but this was the main one. And so when I became athletic director, I chose Tech because of facilities, and so we've been able to build a few facilities, kind of because we knew the importance I did of facilities for players and recruiting. But you know, we had a lot of great players and a lot of really good teams in here. I think we had a great home court advantage in here. Teams didn't like to come out to Lubbock. Even some of those years when we weren't necessarily contenders for championship, teams didn't want to come here. There might be a couple of teams jump out and be leading the conference, and one of the writers or somebody in Dallas, Houston say, well, they haven't been to Lubbock and they haven't been to Fayetteville. And I took that as a compliment, that because we did have great crowds in here. In the 60s, during Dublin Ace's years and Delray Mounts' years, those 2 guys were great players. They had opened up the auditorium next door and put in, you know, they piped the game over there on a video screen. We probably had 2,500 fans or so over in that auditorium, and plus the about 9,000 that we got in here. In the beginning, they could get 10,000 in here. You know, everybody, they let them sit in the aisles. They let them sit or stand everywhere. But the fire marshal finally cut that out. One of the things I remember as a player, we came in here and we came out at the halftime. It was just like a cloud of smoke, because smoking was allowed in here. And I mean, it was like looking up through the clouds with all that smoke. But finally, they passed that rule, no smoking. But it's been a great venue for Texas Tech basketball all these years. I have a lot of great memories. Somebody asked me my favorite game or favorite moments. Well, there were a lot of them. I think you remember those heartbreaking losses more than you do the exhilarating wins. But a couple of wins that do come to my mind. We played SMU when I was a player. They beat us 30 in Dallas. They were ranked number 2 in the country, and they came back out and played. We were independents that year, and they came back out, and we beat them on the last second shot. They were ranked number 2 in the country. And then years later, Bubba was on the team. I believe the year that Tony hit that shot, I think it was 19, what, 50, was it 85? it was a key shot that helped us win the conference championship. Tony Benford made a shot on this end right down on the baseline against SMU zone. They were again ranked number 2. So 2 of the biggest wins we had were against SMU when they were ranked number 2, and actually they were going to be number 1 the next day if we hadn't beat them. But they're just so, you know, I know my wife Carol, she'll be sitting in her seats over there. She told me, now you go over there and get those same seats that I had. I hope I got the right seats.
Coach Myers, I know you kind of mentioned the home court advantage. What are you kind of expecting this weekend when the stands are filled up again?
The home court advantage in here? Well, I think it's going to depend a lot on how many people we have. If we fill it up, we're going to have a great advantage. I hope our fans, and particularly a lot of our older fans that were in here years ago to watch the Lady Raiders and Red Raiders play, will come out and watch this team. This is a fun team that Chris has. I mean, he's doing a great job, and they're fun to watch. We had one of the biggest crowds, pre-Christmas crowds, in there for that Nevada game we've ever had. Right prior to final exams, and they're just a fun team to watch. I think by the time we get to conference, we're going to be filling that up pretty regular because people will really enjoy this team.
Go back to Jeff.
This is for all 3 of y'all, since y'all have the experience in here. We talked about some big wins, but what's the craziest thing you saw in here? Something that's just kind of maybe wild and out of the ordinary.
I saw a lot of real intense coaching by Coach Myers. He did a great job of getting us the home court advantage and kept everybody on their toes and really worked hard and kept the players really fired up and ready to play and kept the referees right on their toes. And one night he got on Coach Bliss from SMU pretty good. That was pretty crazy. But he just did a great job. And like Coach said, there was a great atmosphere in here. You get a lot of people in here, and it'd get really loud. We had the students sitting right over here on the floor, and our band was sitting down here, and some of those band members would get a little crazy sometimes, and it was just a really good atmosphere. Really enjoyed. As far as something really crazy, the only thing I can really remember was we're playing Washington. It was my senior year in '85, and they had Detlef Shrimp, and they had a really good team, and played them in 4 overtimes, but right about the first overtime, there was a leak. It was raining outside, and there was a leak in the ceiling. They had to set a bucket out on the floor to collect the water. But that was something that was kind of unusual there.
For me, probably one of the craziest things is all the elephants that come in when they do the circus and stuff. But and we still had to come in and change in the locker room, and it would smell bad. And that was pretty crazy. One of the craziest moments for me was not when I was playing, but before I ever came here, the A&M fight in the hallway and all that stuff. I was right out there in the middle of it. It was kind of fun, but I do remember that. And then the night that we beat Kansas and Rayford scored 36 in the second half was pretty crazy. I had never seen anything like that at that point.
One of our most memorable wins again was against Texas. We were down to Texas. Down in points. We were down 12 points with actually less than a minute to go, and we were shooting a free throw on this end, and we made 2 free throws to cut it to 10. And we had those Hobbs boys. Were you on that team, Bubba?
I was on the team, but I was redshirted that
That's
year.
your red shirt. Bubba broke his foot when he was a sophomore, so he redshirted. But we had those Hobbs kids that all they do at Hobbs is press, and we had 3 of them. And so we pressed Texas, and we got the ball and scored. They threw it in. We got it, scored again. Now it's down to 6. They called timeout. They go over. Abe Lemons is the coach, and Abe's a pretty colorful guy. He was so mad he wouldn't even talk to them. He just turned his back on them. So he sent them back out, and same thing. They never got across the top of the circle, and we kept intercepting balls and putting them in. They'd foul us. We'd make free throws, and I think it's probably a record, but we scored 12 points in 36 seconds. Now I've heard so many people say they were at that game and saw that game, but Texas had us down most of the game, and by that time in the game, the fans had just about emptied out. But that was probably the greatest comeback we ever had in the game.
That was also a Texas team that was real highly ranked at that time. I believe at one time they were 16-0. Mike Wacker and LaSalle Thompson were on that team, and we did a great job of coming back there at the end and winning that game. That was very exciting.
Anything else before we wrap up?
I'd say a couple more things about the game if y'all could help us. The parking situation will just be open parking, using all the lots around here that are used for football Saturdays, so it shouldn't be a problem there. And then this game is not on television. So just make sure, normally most of our games are on some kind of television, but not this game. Really kind of by design, hoping that all of our fans will come out and see the game in person. So, again, we can try to beat a good Rice team, but also honor all the past players and coaches here. And then, again, just the half-price tickets for the next 48 hours. And then if you buy a ticket for the Rice game Saturday, that'll get you in free for Wednesday's game against Kennesaw State. Thank you very much.